Governing. Candace Owen says, exactly how many variants of totalitarianism does it take to create a communist country? Justin Trudeau, Emmanuel Macron, and Joe Biden are working diligently to find out. I think she might run for president one day. Who knows? That would be an interesting ticket. This whole speech, this is Pierre Poilievre, and the whole speech is worth listening to. The whole speech is worth paying attention to. I'm going to play probably 2 minutes of this because it just makes sense to play about 2 minutes of this. And the reason being is, well, it'll be clear in a minute. Poilievre is saying, well, there's a tweet that goes along with this, so hold on. He says, the unprecedented money spending the government is doing to fund its spending, the unprecedented money printing the government is doing to fund its spending is not only causing an inflation tax, it is illegal under the Bank of Canada Act. Okay, so he's saying it's illegal. He says that he's done his due diligence, he's checked, he's double-checked, he's triple-checked, and he thinks that he's right. And so here we go. It's probably a little long, but I think it's worth it. Here we go.
I stumbled on a section of the Bank of Canada Act, Section 18, subsection J, only hours before I was originally planning to make this point of privilege. And having read that section and looked at the numbers, I came to the conclusion that there very well might be a breach of law involved in what the bank and the government have colluded to do. Allow me to read the section in question. Section 18, the bank may, J, make loans to the Government of Canada or the government of any province, but such loans outstanding at any one time shall not, in the case of the Government of Canada, exceed 1/3 of the estimated revenue of the Government of Canada in a fiscal year. I turn your attention, Mr. Speaker, to Table A14, Summary Statement of Transactions, Budget 2021. Projected revenues, $355.1 billion. So to respect Section 18J of the Bank of Canada Act, which limits the bank's ability to lend money to the government to no more than 1/3 of projected budgetary revenues, the bank would be effectively capped in its loans to the government at $118 billion. $118 billion being 1/3 of the $355 billion of projected revenues. In fact, the Bank of Canada balance sheet shows that it now holds $415 billion, almost $300 billion more than the legal cap provided in the Act. Now, when I discovered this apparent breach, I immediately delayed my introduction of this point of privilege to spend the time to verify and re-verify my calculations. I've never seen a government body so flagrantly violate limits that the Parliament has placed upon it in statutory law, so I thought there must be some mistake. But as I crunched the numbers, I realized that no, in fact, the 1/3 limit was breached. I then reached out to the Library of Parliament to conduct a full review of all the legislation passed to approve emergency COVID spending since spring of 2020 to find out if maybe the section was temporarily suspended or a special exemption to it was created in order to allow this kind of dollar figure to be lent from the bank to the government. And sure enough, the Library of Parliament said there was no such exemption or suspension of the section. It is still in place.
So that's weird, don't you think? Isn't that strange? Isn't that an odd thing to have happen? I think that when we have a government that is taking the Speaker to court to say, no, the Speaker in Parliament is not supreme, actually the sitting government is supreme, when you've got a situation where they're outspending what they're legally allowed to, maybe, that's problematic. That's a difficult situation to maintain. And, well, I hope they're not able to maintain it. And I hope that somebody's accountable. Isn't somebody accountable? Isn't there a way to hold somebody accountable? Pierre, isn't there? Please? No? All right, well. I think that it was interesting, though, and I think that good for Mr. Poilievre. This is a bombshell. Make no mistake. This is a complete bombshell, okay? And it's unbelievable